Thanks for checking out the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to see me play your deck, hang out with me in the amazing BoshNRoll community in Discord, access to my lists and sideboard guides before tournaments, book an individual coaching session, or just generally want to support what's going on here, check out the Patreon and YouTube membership options. For the finest Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, use code BoshNRoll for 10% off your order at coalesceapparel.shop. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. If you want to play what I'm playing, use my affiliate link to support the channel while you shop for cards at tcgplayer.com and play any deck anytime on Magic Online with a cardhoarder.com loan account. Thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back for another BoshNRoll video. Today, at the request of Patreon subscriber Brendan, I am playing Modern, and this is Grixis Death Shadow. Grixis Shadow has a long history with Modern, going back probably 4 or 5 years now, when people really figured out what this card could do. And there was a period where it was the best deck, not close. And then there was a period where it was a deck. And then there was a period where it was not really a deck. It was just like a thing you could do if you weren't really up on Modern anymore. And then it crept back up to being one of the best decks, right at the tail end of Luris's legality. And then Luris got banned, and it turned out the dominating part of this deck in the metagame was the fact that it was a great Luris deck. And it sort of fell back into the second tier, or tier 1.5. It's not one of the top decks in Modern anymore, but it's always around. And there's a reason it has staying power. Look at all the spells on this deck. This is just a freaking legacy deck. Like 0 mana cantrip, 1 mana counterspell, 1 mana 13/13, 1 mana removal, 1 mana discard, 1 mana threat, 1 mana threat, 1 mana removal. And then at the top end, your most expensive spells, you have Ledger Shredder, Dig Through Time, a 6/6 creature, and the split Doomblade counterspell split card. Every card in this deck is just 10 out of 10 insane card in Magic's history. These are among the best individual cards that exist in Modern, and they're all just right here in a deck together. The big addition recently was Ledger Shredder. This is kind of vying for the same space in the metagame as Is It Murktide is, which is disrupt your opponent, make a big idiot, and then win with it, with options on getting under them with your 1-drops. But generally, this is going to be a kind of a mid-range control deck rather than an aggro deck. Like, this looks like Delver, Legacy Delver on the surface, but it's really not. Sometimes you have turn 1 Ragavan backed by a couple fatal pushes, and it feels like Legacy Delver, but that's not really what we're doing here, because Death Shadow is not really a 1-drop. It's a 1 mana spell that you can't really cast until turn 3. More like Sarah Avenger than it is like Delver of Secrets. But wow, is it big when you get there, and Ledger Shredder really bridged that gap between the Insano 1-drops and the fact that Death Shadow is more of a mid-range play. It also kind of filled the gap that Luris left behind of what do we do in the mid game when we like draw a land, or we draw a Thoughtseize when they're already hellbent, or we draw a Dragon's Rage Channeler when it's not the threat we're looking for, or we draw Spell Pierce once they have 6 mana. Ledger Shredder just does all those things while also being a pretty big flyer. You can also discard Kroxa directly to the graveyard. You could skip the whole front half and just put it into play. That's a cool trick. Helps you get Delirium. You could discard a card type you don't have yet. Good stuff all around with that. What I really love about this deck right now, 2 Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce is a card that's creeping up in Modern all over the place. It's in Murktide builds. It's in this. It's in a lot of control or mid-range decks. Anyone with access to blue mana should probably be thinking about Spell Pierce right now. Every time I cast this card, it's just completely nutty. I would like a dress down in the main deck, but I am going to leave this list intact. This list just went 8-0 in last weekend's Modern Challenge, just a few days ago. And not having done the work myself, I don't want to just like turn a random card into a dress down and then miss some interaction that keeps the whole engine running. It's probably fine to just like clip a Dragon's Rage Channeler or one of the Spell Pierces for dress down, and you're not really going to change the deck that much, but I'm going to leave this as it is, and we'll see how that plays out. But dress down is a card I like as a one of. Helps you hit Delirium, helps against Urza Saga and Primeval Titan matchups. Also just makes Death Shadow a 13/13 in combat. There's still 2 in the deck. We'll find him if we need him. The companion these days is Jegantha, which is no Luris, but you do still get a companion. There is an 8 mana 5/5 chilling in the command zone if you ever need it. Sometimes these games do get grindy, and just one more big idiot to put into play will get you over the finish line. Something this list is doing that I have not seen before, and might be a meme or might be freaking great. Kaito Shizuki is a 2-of in the sideboard. This is a card I've been impressed with basically every time I put it into a deck, and I'm excited we get to do this. This would come in any of the grindy, the removal heavy matchups like 4C, 4-color Blink, 4-color Rhinos, 5-color Rhinos, whatever. All those big control decks that are really good at solituding your creatures or furying your creatures. Kaito would come hang out in there for sure. I'm excited to try that one out. And the rest of this is just making sure you don't die to the scam decks, the cheese decks. This Flusterstorm for various Cascade piles, Unlicensed Hearse for Living End and other graveyard stuff, including the Murktide matchup. Engineered Explosives cleans up Rhinos. And there it is. It's just a pile of the most efficient cards available in the Grixis colors. I do love this deck. I have played it in real tournaments before. Not since the Luris ban, but most of the cards are still here. Let's see if it hangs. In we go. I'm on the draw against an opponent who has no companion, and I have this turn 1 Ragavan hand with a bunch of interaction. Keep. These are the hands where I look at this deck and I'm like, damn, this deck is so good. Okay, we've got Urza Saga. Playing against Amulet. Already missed that main deck dress down. Good news is Ragavan's probably going to get to smash here. Do I want to cast it off Steam Vents or Blood Crypt? Spell Pierce and Unholy Heat are both 1-mana cards in the mix. Steam Vents can cast either. There's no Serum Visions or any of that sort of thing in the deck. Thoughtseize is in the deck. Thoughtseize is a 1-mana spell I could cast, which I think brings me to the conclusion that it doesn't matter. I'm going to lead on Blood Crypt. I'm going to play my Rag. Off we go. Big play draw energy here. They're going to have 2 amulets in play next turn. In best case scenario, oh god, they'll have 3 amulets next turn if I'm not dead right now. Played Valakut. They'll get 2 red mana off of this if they want it. Alright, didn't float anything, just shipped it. Cool. Okay. Rag, do something. Ragavan flipped. Summoner's Pact. Bummer. I kind of wanted them to draw that because Drown on the Lock counters it. Okay, I'm gonna shock in Steam Vents. I could pass holding up Drown and Spell Pierce, or I could Ledger Shredder, Mishra's Bauble, get 2 card types in the graveyard, and just hold up Spell Pierce. Does Drown on the Lock actually help? I'm not convinced it does. Ledger Shredder. Yeah, Drown on the Lock with them with 0 cards in their graveyard. Not helpful. It's going to shred some Ledgers. I'll discard a Drown. And then bobble my opponent, see what they're up to. Submit Growth Chamber. Bummer. That's usually pretty good. I hope they needed that Summoner's Pact. There's Thoughtseize. Probably a turn too late. If they do need to Pact to get through this, Spell Pierce has some text, but good chance they're just gonna... Oh. Well, the 3 amulets make this largely irrelevant. Guess I will commit the spell that I have to commit at least. Hoping that the 2 mana affects them at least a little bit, but I know they have Growth Chamber and they're about to have 3 amulets. That's enough to prime time straight up. Maybe I'm supposed to leave up the Drown here? Yeah, probably. Okay, I fucked this up. The worst thing that you could ever see. The 2 cards that I know about are the Primeval Titan and the mana to cast it. I imagine I'm just mega dead here, but if they somehow pass the turn, like some line that doesn't kill me, then eating the Primeval Titan works. I'm going to get a Ledger Shredder trigger off of the Primeval Titan. Shredding It's got to be Spell Pierce. I think we're done casting that card. Rule Turf and Teleria West. That's interesting. Oh, right. The West can bounce itself and then transmute into another pact. Okay. Nope. Figured it out. I'm in a lot of trouble. Exactly enough to transmute to another pact. Spell Pierce, not what I needed here. Yep, passing without drown up is proving to be a mistake. But I had already seen one pact, like gotten that one out of the mix, and they have as many Titans as they have packs. And they can give both of these Titans haste. All right. We're good. I believe you. Yeah, that was just a working with incomplete information and trying to get towards Unholy Heat rather than... Yeah, I advanced my own board state at the detriment to respecting their thing. I think I win that game on the play, or if I just am a genius and know exactly what to do. Neither of which of those things were true. Terminate and Dress Down coming in, picking off the primetime is a big deal. Fatal Push does hit as sometimes if you have Revolt, it hits Azusa and Dryad of the Elysian Grove, but sometimes it doesn't hit anything. Spell Pierce, actually pretty bad. It could hit a turn 1 amulet, but that's not really what I want to be doing with my mana on turn 1. I don't think I want my engineered explosives in here. Like, you could put it on 1 and clear out some amulets, or put it on 0 and clear out constructs, but especially on the play, I want to be more proactive. Is Kroxa bad or is Kroxa excellent here? Is Drown worse than Spell Pierce? Because Amulet doesn't put a lot of cards into their own graveyard, and the thing they want to resolve costs 6, but we just saw multiple packs go off on a turn, which is a 0 mana spell. Unholy Heat is important. Mishra's Wobble is important to turn on the Unholy Heat. I think Fatal Push is among the worst cards here. I'm just upgrading that straight up to Terminate. Pretty solid Fatal Push is a cut. And Spell Pierces. Do I want Fatal Pushes back in over some number of Drown? Like, I could Thoughtseize them, put cards into their graveyard. I'm going to leave my Drowns and cut the Spell Pierces and Fatal Pushes. Kroxa, Thoughtseize, and my removal spells all put their cards into the graveyard for them. Urza Saga goes into the graveyard on its own. This is a no lander. I'm going to have to mulligan that one. This one's pretty solid. I'll keep it. It doesn't interact quickly, but it does have Dress Down and Unholy Heat, which are two of the most important cards in the matchup. Now the question is, do I bottom the Death Shadow and just have no threats, or do I bottom Expressive Iteration and give up my draw engine later? I think it's an iteration, because another fetch land gets me Death Shadow. There's Saga. Spell Pierce, JK. That was last game. Shock in Watery Grave and pass. Another double amulet start. Yikes. Suva making a Urza Saga. You gonna play the other two amulets? Go for it. I would love to draw a fetch land right now. That's not a fetch land. I think I have to just pass, even though I hate it. Because Dress Down is the way that I don't lose right away. And they're going to read this Dress Down a mile away, but if I Expressive Iteration, even if it hits a land, it doesn't do everything I need it to. I'm going to fetch in response to the Saga. I don't know if they play Pithing Needles, but I'm not about to get clowned by it. Team Vents or Blood Crypt. Blood Crypt is usually the best land in this deck, and I already have a blue source. I'm going to get Blood Crypt. Got Expedition Map. I hope they go for Cavern of Souls here. Nope, straight into Growth Chamber. Okay, so they can prime time here. Oh, no, they can't. They're mana short. Dryad. Okay, now they can prime time. Or no, they're still a mana short. But they're still floating it. Arboreal Grazer. Okay, that'll get you where you're going. Maybe I was supposed to dress down the Arboreal Grazer. And if I can actually kill the Primeval Titan, it's better that it's in play than in the hand, where they can cast it next turn. Please pact, please pact. If they pact, they lose. Yes. Summoner's Pact resolves. Dress down. I guess if they have Beseiju, they can punch through this. Dress down's in. They've drawn my card. And Primetime resolved. They got to pay for a pack next turn. And they don't have any land drops left. And they can't Grazer another one in. Because Grazer also doesn't have any abilities. Hell yeah. That's what I was talking about in the deck tech of Dress Down just being so bonkers in the matchups where it matters. Alrighty. Does anything change? Is Spell Pierce better on the draw than Drown in the Lock? Or is Drown in the Lock hitting Pact just so important in my plan that it doesn't matter? I could flip Drowns into Fatal Pushes here and give myself answers to the 3-drop plan. They've seen Dress Down now, so maybe they will just kind of try to push a mid-range game on Dryad plus land drops and not expose themselves to Dress Down. I think this makes sense to me. This Kroxa is like the last thing I'm thinking about. It's pretty bad until it's insane. Like, there's many turns of the game where you just don't want to see Kroxa at all. And then there is a turn, probably around turn 6 or 7, where you're just like, yep, that's the best card in my deck. And you do only play one, and you have all the Ledger Shredders to shred past it, to speed it up if you want to. I think being alive on the draw is more important than maximizing, like, winning quickly. Once you're stable, like, getting stable is more important than your plan once you're there. You need both, but the deck's full of creatures I can attack. Okay, I'm going in. My feelings on Spell Pierce might be tainted by the fact that they've had 2 or 3 amulets every game. If they had just like 1 amulet, then Spell Pierce is actually really good at breaking up pack turns. Alright, folks. Snap Keep. We've got Death Shadow and the correct life total to deploy it. Got a 1-drop into Dress Down and Unholy Heat, which are the best cards. Just Dress Down the Primetime, then heat it out of play. That's what we're looking for. Turn 1 Saga again. Oh, no Amulet? That's unlucky. Swamp is the only basic in my deck, and it's in my hand, so I can just fetch whatever with whatever here and start working on my life total. As long as it makes red for this DRC. Blood Crypt it is. And there's my Channeler. A multiple Saga start. Okay. This is where you really enjoy having Dress Down in your deck. I'm just going to attack for 1, and then next turn I can deploy Death Shadow and still hold up Dress Down. I'm not giving them anything. And I'm going to fetch a Watery Grave here and just round out my colors. There's no way they get Pithing Needle here. Even if they even have one, I don't think there's any universe they use their Saga on anything other than Amulet. But I still want to, in case they go completely rogue here. I want to make sure my mana is set up. The 3rd Urza Saga, okay. They're like, I will have 3 amulets every game, one way or another. Alright, making a construct, sure. I could heat this construct, but it's going to die anyway, whenever this Dress Down happens. Blue to Delta, that gets my life total even lower for this Death Shadow. I have 2 red, 3 black. I just want more Blood Crypt. Or if I get more Watery Grave, then I can guarantee blue source available no matter what land comes off my Expressive Iteration next turn. Steam Vents does that too, but there's a Steam Vents in my hand. I guess Steam Vents is fine. And here is the Shadow. Large and in charge. Smaller than a construct, but still kind of in charge. Another Saga is popping here. Oh wow, they tutored up Amulet and cast Amulet. They're letting it rip. 3 Amulet game. And the 4th one is looming in play for next turn. I imagine the 4th Amulet is too much. Who needs that many amulets? That's just greedy. Explore. That's cool. It gives you another round with the... Oh wow. 2 Explorers. Hashtag 2 Explorers. Alex Bertoncini. I do only have 1 card type in my graveyard. Dress Down will make it 2, but this... Oh wow, just used your floating mana to make another construct. Playing around Dress Down by playing into Dress Down. And the Growth Chamber's back as well. I would love it if they pre-combat a Primeval Titan as well. There was a world where they could try to thread the needle of like beat on me with the constructs and to flush out the dress down and then hit me with prime time once I've used it. But if they prime time right now, then I get to just kill everything. Transmuting Teleria West. Okay. You getting Beseiju? Nope. Still going for Pact. Oh no, I can't counter the Titan. With a creature's Beast. That is a whatever that thing is. Okay, I can end step dress down, which lets me attack for 14 and clear these constructs. Does not leave me with a plan for the Primeval Titan that we can see Summoner's Pact in their hand. Unless I end up with... Oh no, that doesn't even make sense. Alright, I'm just going to go to my turn. Drown in the Lock. That counters the Pact that we know about. I'm just going to play my basic Swamp and pass the turn. I can counter Pact and cast Dress Down. That gives me 2 DRC triggers. Work our way towards Delirium. And Drown in the Lock. We have played long enough game where it's on basically full terminate / counterspell mode. I'm going to snap off the counterspell. Hope that they think that's my only interaction. Ooh, Pact in response. That's so smart. What a blowout. Cultivator Calusi. I'm going to put Death Shadow in the graveyard. That gives me creature for my additional considerations. Oh, this is a beast too. Cool. I didn't know that was a beast. We learn something new every day. Okay, a Pact has resolved. They'll have something to pay for next turn. Cultivator Colossus arrives just dead on arrival as a 0/0 if it gets stressed down and you don't get to do the other stuff. Do they have the Beseiju this time? Ragavan also into the graveyard. I don't really want more creatures right now. This will at least kill the constructs, even if it doesn't get to sweep the Colossus, and the Colossus went straight to the graveyard. They have to pay for a Pact next turn. Dress Down dies. Let's Thoughtseize. I'm going to put this second Thoughtseize into the graveyard. Oh yeah, Cavern Vesuva is their hand. They have to spend a turn paying for stuff. Gonna iteration here. Ragavan, graveyard. I'll put Drown in my hand, Fatal Push on the bottom, exile DRC, play DRC. They're taking 7, I can make it 10, that's a 2-turn clock, let's go. That should have been the red source, whoops. Hope I don't die for that. If they draw exactly Primeval Titan, I did just fuck up real bad. I should have fetched the red source. Uh-oh. Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. I would deserve it, but please don't kill me. Don't draw exactly Primeval Titan. Ooh, we faded, but we faded something that didn't need to be faded. When I resolved that fetch land, I was a little bit in autopilot mode where I was like, okay, yeah, they have to tap their thing and they're just dead and blah, blah, blah. And Watery Grave, black mana is generally better than blue mana or in the deck. But I'm literally holding on Holy Heat. It's literally right there. It's in my hand. The one thing they could do to win this game is rip a Primeval Titan, and I'm holding the answer, and I fetched the wrong land. Glad thing we faded, but you got to pay attention all the way to the very end. On to the next one. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and every other format you'll see on this channel. They have multiple customizations so you can view your deck how you want. Text view, stacks, grid, custom grouping by type, subtype, color, light mode, dark mode. However you want to see your deck, they can provide it for you. My favorite feature is you can choose your set printing, make the deck look exactly how you want it to. The deck screen features expandable sections that show you what tokens your deck makes, your recent change history to the deck, stats about mana curve and opening hand distribution, mana cost distribution. You can deal out sample hands and even play test the deck. Island Ponder. You know I'm keeping this one. This site has everything. Follow me on Moxfield.com to keep up with decks I'm playing for the channel and what I'm up to in paper. I'll see you there. I'm on the play in a Jegantha mirror of some type. I'm going to keep my hand. I've played a lot of Modern lately, and every time I say my opponent has Jegantha, the most common deck is Dash Shadow. It's just like not Dash Shadow that I'm playing against. Luckily, Thoughtseize is the great equalizer, and we will know immediately what they're playing. This is the same conversation from last game of which land do I lead on and does it matter. In Blood Crypt, Watergrave, cast Unholy Heat and Spell Pierce, or Drown on turn 2. I don't think this matters. Gonna lead on the Blood Crypt. Give them a chance to think I'm Rakdos. Okay, it's this version of Jegantha. Expedition map takes the most mana to get online. Sylvan Scrying, I can Spell Pierce. Yeah, that's the cut. Take the map from now, Spell Pierce to Scrying next turn, and then no Tron for you. And I gotta find a threat before they find their way out of this. And that Oblivion Stone will at some point be a problem. Oh, this is cool. If they pop their Chromatic Star, I can Drown in the Loch instead of Spell Pierce. Because Spell Pierce can hit, like, Karn later on, where Drown in the Loch is unlikely to ever get that big. Alright, they went for it. Play that Forest. Chromatic Star. Okay. Trying to dip around my counter spells. Probably smart. Totally had them. Nice. Alright, I'm going to take a turn playing the threat. And we're just on this Spell Pierce life. Ancient Stirrings. I'll pierce that. If they're trying to use this to find the land to cast the Scrying, I can knock them both out here. I'm going to bin Ragavan. I want to hit harder than that. If they have the land, then I still cut the Stirrings out from under them. Alright, cool. Stirrings. Means I can counter Scrying next turn. They did find Power Plant, though. Done a pretty good job dancing around what I'm doing here. Oof. Much as I'd like to, Expressive Iteration, I actually can't let Sylvan Scrying resolve at this point. Fucking fuck. This asshole. Alright. Tron. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This will be 6 cards in the graveyard. Alright. I've drawn a few too many Unholy Heats this game. Wow, this really did just like fall apart around me. There's many universes where we just laugh our way to the bank this whole game. Alright, I'll drown the O-Stone and hope they never draw a good card again. I'm actually gonna bin the land because I want Expressive Iteration to help me out here. Found a land anyway. Red-blue, Expressive Iteration, let's go. Ragavan into the graveyard. Channeler to my hand, Fatal Push to the bottom, Exile, Watery Grave. This has gone completely awkward on me, and it's now we're in a bad spot. We know Sylvan Scrying is in hand and 3 other cards. Yeah, there's the Scrying. And there's Karn, which I can remove. Thanks to Unholy Heat. Fucking A. Just completely gated on red mana here. Put Jeggy in my hand. And pass the turn. Keep playing things that died on Holy Heat. Or just don't play anything. Okay. Yep. There's Tron. Am I supposed to Spell Pierce the Chromatic Star when it's like clear that they're dancing around my counter magic? Do I just commit? Is that what I'm supposed to do there? I feel like I must have fucked that game up because based on that opening Thoughtseize, I probably would have bet my house that I was going to win that game. And now I would be homeless. I did draw a lot of Unholy Heats that game instead of cards that are good. Mana was awkward, so things went poorly for me and perfectly for my opponent, but I think, especially with the Spell Pierce and Drown in hand, I'm supposed to poke the Chromatic Star. Alright. What do I even do in this matchup? Every one of these things is... None of my sideboard is for this. Like, Mystical Dispute, I could just spend 3 mana the hard way, but that only works if they don't have an extra tower laying around. Drown in the Loch is sus because I think that these decks play Relic of Progenitus. And is this a Kaito matchup? I don't think so. They just go so much bigger than that. Unlicensed Hearse doesn't matter. Engineered explosives could knock a relic out of play, or perhaps catch something like a map in play where they're not ready for it. Terminate can kill like Worm Coil Engines and Thrag Tusks, kind of. Drown is the last question here. Do I want Drowns? Do I want Terminates or Kaitos over the Drowns? Yeah, this is just not a sideboard that respects Tron at all. Okay, I'm just going to leave all my Drowns in. I don't really want them in, but also, look at this sideboard. What am I doing instead? Turn 1 Ragavan and Spell Pierce, I'm going to keep. Do I turn 2 the Ragavan? I don't think so. Like, I could Spell Pierce whatever they do this turn. I'm going to get Blood Crypt. I'm just going to shove Ragavan and get to work. This opponent has made it clear they are willing and able to play around just about anything, and I don't want to go a turn without spending mana. Ragavan, do something good. Karn, I'll cast that one. I wish. Dragon's Rage Channeler or Ledger Shredder. Shredder's got to be better. Watery Grave. Shredder. Do I just play the DRC as well and just shove in? Because if they just go land, activate map, I don't get to counterspell anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna DRC here. Thoughtseize is a good one. I'm gonna get rid of this Drown in the Lock. Alright, here we go. Solid turn 2 there. Yeah, this is why I didn't leave up Spell Pierce. They're gonna end up with Tron anyway. And there's 2 card types in my graveyard. Thoughtseize makes it 3. If I Thoughtseize pre-combat, and I don't know what Ragavan knows yet, I'm just going to attack with everything first. Ragavan, exiled Urza's Mine, and I'm going to Thoughtseize from my hand, mill this land into my graveyard, and we've got Karn the Grey Creator, Warping Well, Sphere. I'm going to take Great Creator, because I can Spell Pierce a Liberated. Or do I take this Warping Whale? That one's actually interesting. But I can't heat Karn Great Creator, never mind. I'm going to take the Great Creator. Just leave Spell Pierce in the mix here. Blast Zone, okay, sure. Gave up on Tron for that. And then immediately drew Expedition Map. That card was not in the hand when I Thoughtseized. Well played. Back up, Rag. Here we go. Attack with all my creatures. They'll probably warp the Ragavan here. Alright, that's not important to them, it seems. Exile a forest. And I'm gonna put Jeggy in my hand. Now they can decide if they want a Warping Whale or Expedition Map in the end step. Blast Zone is on this turn. Did get the mine, finish off their Tron. This is 8 mana. I can still Spell Pierce, Great, or Liberated. X Star, you got it. That was not in their hand when I saw it, so I have that information. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I actually know their whole hand right now. If they Blast Zone, then they're back in Spell Pierce range. Unless they draw another Tron land, which you know they're going to. Alright, the Sphere gives me a Shredder. Drown in the Lock, that was a good find. I'm going to discard this Unholy Heat. Yeah, I just think Drown is going to be important. And I want the Rag because they're holding up Blast Zone. Okay, let's attack with my creatures. That's step 1. They are blasting my zone in response. Or not. What's happening? We have 5 mana in the pool. Or are we just seeing what we draw before we commit to Blast Zone? Blast Zone it is. Warping Whale doing what? Making a 1/1. That plays around. That lets you play around Spell Pierce next turn, so I might as well Spell Pierce now, which means you're. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This gives me Drown in the Lock, though, for 7. Okay, yeah, I'm just going to attack. Opponent's at 5. I can't Jeg, because then I get Karned. But if I use Spell Pierce and Drown in the Lock, That gives me a Connive trigger and clears their board. The dashed Ragavan is lethal. We've seen Warping Owl, we've seen Sphere. We saw one of the spheres, so there's still Sphere, Karn, Forest in hand, plus 3 mystery cards. There's the Sphere. Now if they do anything else, I get a Shredder trigger. Found a Tower off of that. Tower is the one that messes up my mana counts. Now they can cast Karn, completely shrugging off Spell Pierce. Shredder. Discard Death Shadow, or discard Jeggy. Yeah, Shadow is just better than Jeggy. I'm gonna drown this in the lock. Plenty of cards in the graveyard. And I'm gonna Spell Pierce this. Spell Pierce is not doing anything else this game. I need a Steam Vents to do this with. And they are conceding. Yes, the Ledger Shredder was getting there. Alright, cool. Able to pick them apart that time, but it was close. This is a capable opponent. Hate when my opponents are capable. That's not fair. It's not what I signed up for. Just ram yourself in Scryings into my Spell Pierces. Come on. This is bullshit. Drown in the Lock stayed relevant. They never had a piece of graveyard hate. I mean, the card is good if they have no graveyard hate, but a single relic just knocking 4 or 5 cards out of a graveyard is a problem. Still think it's good, though. Yeah, Kaito. I don't really want to spend 3 mana on something that doesn't kill my opponent. There are no 3-drops in the deck. Like, it's just Kroxa that costs more than 3. Yeah, I think this is still the plan. Let's do it. No Thoughtseize this game, but I do have Spell Pierce and Death Shadow. I'm going to keep. Okay, good. Expedition Map is the thing that completely shrugs off Spell Pierce, and I didn't really want to play against. I can pierce a map or a Scrying this turn, or a Stirrings. I'll pierce basically anything here. I'm not going to get picky. If a spell hits the stack, I'm pointing my counterspell at it. Especially that one. Steam Vents, shock it in. Spell Pierce. Shock in, Watery Grave. This gives me Drown in the Lock, which I am going to hold up. They're probably just going to play the Tron land. Just had it, LOL. Okay, they didn't just have a Tron land. And I'm just going to keep drowning here. Wanted to spend my mana this turn. Relic, sure. That did what it needed to do. Shit. I really wanted to Ledger Shredder and Shadow this turn, but then I realized I'm at 15 life, and that's not how that works. Red, blue. I guess we're expressive iterationing. I'd love to find a Thoughtseize here. Easy money. Okay. Steam Vents in hand. Death Shadow on the bottom. Exile Thoughtseize. And Swamp Thoughtseize you. Thoughtseize this 2-card hand. They can draw a card with... They can draw multiple cards, but let's see what we got here. I hope there's something. Oblivion Stone and Relic. Oblivion Stone is really hard to beat. Relic's a redraw. Still going to take the stone. My plan is to just ram these shadows into play next turn and hope that they win the game. My opponent needs to find Tronland number 3 and Action Spell. They have every card that I can see cantrips, so like they have looks at it, but I could even Shredder Shadow next turn. If the star was not in the hand, Relic is the card I know about. Sanctum of Mugen. Not a Tron land. Relic, sure. And I'm out of things that I know. They're just leaving relics in play, though. Playing around Thoughtseize. Makes sense. Ooh. Alright. Steam Vents. Shock it in. Ledger Shredder. Death Shadow. Get a trigger. This land is tempting. Is Ragavan better than land here? I could discard the other Shredder. That doesn't sound right. Alright, here's my squad. Don't kill me. Go. Yeah, they're going to start drawing cards with their relics. They just exiled the graveyards. Here is the team. 3 cards in hand. Alright, they just found Tron. 2 mystery cards in hand. Oh shit, Blast Zone. Yeah, that kills my shadows. But not this turn. And if they spend time getting Blast Zone, then they still don't have Tron. It just went straight for the mine. What is this 5-mana card? Stop it. No, you have Oblivion Stone was your last card? Fucking Tron players, man. Okay. Discard the Dragon's Rage Jailer. It's my job to get as much damage onto them as I can this turn. That's a good one. Fetch Shock. Yep. Blood Crypt. That makes sense. Blood Crypt. I can dash Ragavan, who gets to avoid the O-Stone. 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Put you to 6. Worm Coil Engine. Fuck. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not quite there on the Worm Coil Engine, but I'm glad they didn't draw it. I should have put Jeggy in hand. I was just busy counting to 4 and forgot to put Jegantha in my hand. Expedition map. Okay, this one can get Blast Zone, and then they don't even need to... Didn't get Blast Zone. I'm going to attack with all my creatures. And they're going to O-Stone. Well, they're going to map first, and then O-Stone. Not the Blast Zone. There's the Oblivion Stone. It sucks my treasure up with it, unfortunately. Is there a better way to do that? Like, am I supposed to put Jeggy in hand with my treasure before that? Here's Ledger Shredder and Thoughtseize. 2 cards in hand, one of them is unknown. Okay, let's hope we hit a real card off of the Thoughtseize, Boseiju, and Blast Zone. Okay. I can put Ragavan into play, or I could wait to dash it. Yeah, I think I want to wait to dash it. That gives me an extra shot at conniving. Oh, they're probably just getting Jegantha. Oh, nope. They're casting Karn. Nope. 8 mana? Use your Ugin? Or are you just fucking with me? What's happening? You gotta love Tron. Even leaves up exactly enough mana to Blast Zone me. Imagine a world where they simply drew Expedition map there. Or like Forest. Or, you know, like anything other than Karn fucking Liberated. This is why people don't like Tron. My opponent has played well, and the deck is powerful. I'm not, like, an anti-Tron person, but we all saw what just happened. Okay. Now I have to beat Wormcoil Engine and beat this Blast Zone, and it would be great if I could just cast Jegantha here, but I didn't put it in my hand all those turns ago. I don't have Lightning Bolts on my deck. I don't have a good way to deal 6, and yeah, good match. My opponent played that really well. And also just did Tron shit. GG's, on to the next one.
You come here to level up at Magic. To level up as a software engineer, check out the new YouTube series Dev Better, hosted by the founder of 7 Factor Software and Magic player, Jeremy Duvall. 7 Factor's small teams of high-performing engineers build custom mobile apps, APIs, and highly scalable systems for Fortune 500 companies and ambitious startups with great ideas. If you'd like to hire 7 Factor, or maybe join their team, contact them through their website at 7factor.io. And don't forget to subscribe to 7 Factor's YouTube for every episode of Dev Better.
On the play with a gorgeous Death Shadow hand in round 3. I'm going to keep this one. I get to DRC and then surveil twice and then draw 2 cards. And I'm going to go for Blood Crypt here. Dragon's Rage Channeler, Mishra's Bauble. Put Ledger Shredder in the graveyard. I am going to bobble them, see what, get some information about their deck. Counterspell. Alright, a counterspell strategy. Alright, let's put that one on top. And I'm going to pass the turn. They're going to draw a counterspell, and then I'll bobble them again and see another card. And no companion. Counterspell revealed. No. Counterspell Forest. Alright. My opponent is up to something. I have never seen all these cards in a deck together, and I'm pretty excited about it. Love to find a red source here. I could DRC and double surveil off of the Unholy Heat. Be great. Got there. Got there twice. Steam Vents, shock it in. Dragon's Rage Channeler, and then Unholy Heat this Noble Hierarch. We're just doing Delver shit now. Let's go. And this Unholy Heat gives me Delirium. That's already 4. I'm going to put Ragavan in the graveyard because I see that Esper Sentinel over there. It's not interested. And in we go. Okay, they are in kind of the crap zone. Oh, wow. We got him with the full bonkers Bolt the Bird GG situation. DRC is doing stuff here. Fatal Push in the graveyard. And then Expressive Iteration, put Spell Pierce in my hand. Play one of these lands. It's been a lot of lands, but it hasn't really mattered. We're just after it. This deck could have Endurance in it, I guess. That's a card I'm thinking about. That might matter. It only matters if they actually cast it, and even then I can push it. Well, that was a non-game, but thanks to the baubles, like if I didn't bauble them, if like these two revealed cards just were never revealed, I would think they were infect. But we saw Esper Sentinel counterspell. There's some sort of like Bant tempo. That's cool. Mystical Dispute, Flusterstorm, Terminate. Engineered Explosive looks pretty good against the deck with Noble Hierarch and Esper Sentinel in it. Spell Pierce. I do like this card a lot, but also like we saw a lot of creatures there. Mishra's Bauble, pretty important for Delirium and Ledger Shredder, but also pretty bad against Esper Sentinel. If I play like some smaller number of those, I'm not going to cut them all, but I could go a little lower to get Terminate in here. And I feel like I just want all my creature removal against this deck. All right, I'm shaving another Bauble. Thank you for your service in game 1, Bauble. No, please exit the deck. This hand looks great. Gonna keep it. It can interact with a turn 1 mana dork and then start dashing rags. That's not the mana dork I was looking for. Now I can decide if I just want to like take my medicine and let them draw a card. I'm gonna shock in the Steam Vents and wait. I guess I could have played a Ragavan here. Yeah, maybe playing Ragavan was the play. I was just so committed in my head to bolting the bird that I didn't think about the monkey. Yeah, Ragavan in play would have changed the texture of that pretty well. I think I want to play Explosives on 1 and just float it in play. And I will pay the 1. Now this card's chilling. Waddle, that's fun. Prismatic Ending, you got me. This deck rules. Bant in all formats, let's go. Just attacking with one of those would have been the same as attacking with both because of Exalted, and now I can dash Ragavan effectively. I am going to dash the Rag, see if they want to jump block or give me a treasure and a flip. Jumping here seems terrible. Letting me get ahead on mana, though, also not ideal. I'm just gonna... Do I want to pass, or do I want to do some bold stuff now? I'm gonna pass. Seeing the counterspell, there was some incentive to operate then. Okay, now the opposite thing is true from last turn. And making your Esper Sentinel bigger is nice. But now I have removal spells up that can pick off all damage instead of dealing 1. Alright. Esper Sentinel died without drawing a card. I've done my job here, even if I lose the game because of the massive tempo loss there. Holy shit. Alright, we're dead. That's not a card I can beat. I needed that Fatal Push, was the answer, actually. There's another one in my deck somewhere. Let's Expressive Iteration. Blue, red. Dragon's Rage Channeler. That's a red card. Dies. Okay. Ragavan in hand, fire outlet to the bottom, exile DRC, and then fetch a red source and play Rag and DRC. Try to overload now. Here's the Channeler, and they have seen a Ragavan already. They don't know I have 3 of them. Yeah, I went with Fatal Push instead of Unholy Heat because I figured Unholy Heat could hit Planeswalkers or other things better, and I was just killing a 1-drop anyway, but then they got me with the sword, which, yeah, not a card I can beat other than Fatal Push. I'm going to have to dash this Rag, and it's going to have to find a Prismatic Ending or something. Give me a removal spell to answer your creature, please. Endurance, that's going to resolve, and then I'm going to heat it before the trigger. So my graveyard's gone. All right, how about that removal spell? Misty Rainforest, ain't it? Okay, sick deck. Now they got to beat me on the draw. And now I know that Sword's in the deck. I can sequence my removal spells a little better. If there's no Kolaghan's Command in this list, that would be in the Kaito spots. That's a card I would bring in here. Sad we're 3 rounds in and haven't seen a reason to put Kaito in my deck yet. Okay, going in. Same 60. On the play with a Rag. We've seen Prismatic Ending. We've also seen 1-drops they'd rather play. I'm going to keep this. A second land makes this hand just great. If Rag connects even once, then it's great. If they start on Noble Hierarch, that's great. If they start on Esper Sentinel, I can give them a card and then start connecting. Yeah, Prismatic Ending is the thing I don't want to see. All right, they got a 1-drop. Please play Noble Hierarch. Shit, it's Prismatic Ending. Okay, time to draw a land. Fuck. Okay, Dragon's Rage Channeler, let's go. Still a deck full of 1-drops. My lands are in there somewhere. Don't worry about it. Oh, they did have the Noble Hierarch and took a turn off. Oh, second Prismatic Ending. Smart. See, you were worried. You don't have to be worried. Noble Hierarch is their only blue source right now. I'm gonna get the Blood Crypt and start the removal train. If I only had 1 removal spell, maybe I'd save it for a juicier target, but I can bolt the bird here. Oh, speaking of birds, and still have multiple terminates lined up. They found blue anyway. Ice Fang Coatl, straight up. And I'm gonna Ledger Shredder and then pass here. They don't have the 5 mana to play and equip Sword all at once. And Sword, if you can get it onto something, is a huge boon, but if you're just like trying to equip it manually, becomes pretty dicey against these decks with tons of removal. I get to shred Ledgers. Ragavan no longer helpful this game. Where are we going? Going for Batterskull. All right, that's the castable one. That makes sense. Fatal Push and terminates. I can't double spell anyway, so I should terminate while the getting's good on that one. And it is Stoneforge Mystic. I want to target. Do I want to move through combat first because the Ice Fang Coatl does have the touch? Or can I just tempo through a Batterskull and I just want to bash Coatl and start attacking? I would have to mill a sorcery artifact to get Delirium this turn. I would prefer if Batterskull costs 5 mana. I'm going to go into second main. Yeah, I'm going to zap Stoneforge. They could have like Ephemerate. That's a card that's legal in the format. That would be pretty cool in this deck and in this spot. Do I want this land? I think no, it doesn't make black, and all my spells are black. Yeah, if that was a black source, I would have kept it. Okay, Batterskull and some mystery cards in hand. And just elbow tap for Batterskull, fair enough. Channeler and Fatal Push. I'm going to play the second Channeler. And I can Fatal Push Ice Fang Coatl and then just try to race this Batterskull. I think that's the way. This gives me Connive and multiple Surveils. I think I want to Connive last. Thoughtseize into the graveyard. That gives me Delirium. That Shadow into the graveyard. I'm not casting that anyway. And then Connive. Discard this Shadow. And the race is on. My Air Force versus your Death Touch or Lifelink creature. They're attacking for 5. Ooh, the actual common Snow Duel. That makes sense if you're a Coatl deck. Also needs mana. Mishra's Bauble. Get some Surveils off here. I definitely want this Fatal Push. And I'm going to bauble you. I have some concerns here about endurance, but my creatures have to attack, so I don't get to be concerned. In we go. Oh no, they have it. Okay, I can at least kill the endurance. But no, I need to kill the Batterskull. But no, fuck, this was so bad. That was exactly the card that I needed them not to have. Okay, if I terminate, I get a Surveil, which will draw Fatal Push, discard Dragon's Rage Channeler. I would need to get Revolt somehow. Okay, I'm gonna kill the germ. Or, hold up. I want Terminate in the graveyard, so I'm gonna let the trigger resolve. And then I'm gonna kill the germ. You can just re-equip Batterskull and Bash with the Endurance. Oh, and I have no way to get Revolt after that. Shit, yeah, we've lost this game. I could also just lose both my Dragon's Rage Channelers. That sounds awful, though. All right. And I actually... Oh, right. I can draw first, keep the Fatal Push, discard the DRC, and then Surveil and chase my way to get Revolt. Neither of those are it. And I actually am right back at Delirium. That didn't occur to me. Luckily, it doesn't matter. I found my Revolt, but not my... Okay, so the Endurance can still eat something, but I did immediately regain Delirium, which I did not think was going to happen. 4, 5, 6, 7, and you get to gain life. That was a really good Veil of Summer. Solitude, oh no! Yeah, we're in the end game now. This deck, at this point, looks like it's just built to farm Shadow. This is probably pretty good against Murktide, too, I would imagine. Okay. Besieging me is a little weird, because I have basic land types. This actually even turns on my Fatal Push now. Oh, shit. What the fuck? Alright. Apparently, I had pass priority and didn't get to Fatal Push in the end step, and took 2 damage for no reason. A Death Shadow doesn't save me. Okay. Yeah, really cool deck, and seems pretty much tailor-made to beat what we're doing here. Veil of Summer Blowout on the removal spell. Good stuff. You know I respect the band control. On to the next round. We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. On the play in another Jegimir in round 3. I like this Thoughtseize start. I'm going to keep it. Fetch Shock, Thoughtseize is a turn 2 Death Shadow. I would like to draw some spells after that and no more lands for the rest of the game. But the opening start here is pretty good. Lead on Blood Crypt. Alright, what do you got for me? Holy moly. Electrostatic Infantry. I've never seen this card in my life. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put +1 counter on this. Yeah, that's pretty good. I get it. DRC, that's card selection. I think I'm taking Swift Spear. Yeah. Alright. This is not the Jegimir I thought we were going to be playing. This is going to be one of those careful dances between winning and losing, and what exactly you need to get out of your life total. It's Team Vents here and play a 1/1 Death Shadow. Oh, they can just bolt that, and that sucks. This Mutagenic Growth saving their Dragon's Rage Channeler is pretty annoying too. But I would rather do it now, because at least they don't get the extra 2 damage. Or do I want them to have the extra 2 damage? I should not have shocked in this fetch line. That was really bad. I just thought about the Lightning Bolt in their hand 1 second after it was relevant. Am I more worried about this infantry thing? Probably. But if they play the infantry thing, then they can't bolt. Alright, I'm going to Unholy Heat. Wow, it just died. Okay, deal. And now I can play my Shadow, because if they bolt Shadow, then they don't play their creature, and their deck doesn't really function without creatures. Oh, what the fuck? Alright. Lava Dart was found. And another spell. Oh, hell yeah. Okay, I want to Fetch Shock first, because that makes Shadow a 4/4. Or no, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, it does. They would need to bolt and dart it. Maybe I just get Jeggy this turn, and then next turn play an even bigger Death Shadow. But if they bolt dart, okay, I am going to play the Shadow. If they bolt dart, then they're down a land. They have the land to infantry bolt dart. Shit. God, this deck is really hard to figure out how to play against. And I just played directly into it. I should have got Jeggy like I thought, said the first time. Oh, if they just pass to my main phase. Okay, cool. Now we're safe. I can make Death Shadow bigger at will, and I'm going to put Jeggy in hand and just pass the turn here. And they might have enough burn and pump to just shove through the shadow. Just have to be really careful with my decisions. It didn't bolt. No, Manamorphose the nuts. 4 cards in hand. 3 cards in hand. We know 2 of them. Lightning Bolt targeting me. That makes my shadow bigger. Am I just dead? Oh, weird. Not sure about that. I'm going to block with my 7/7. Did they not realize it changed size when they bolted me? My creature's still bigger than yours. And if you Lava Dart, I can fetch. Okay, I have made a series of mistakes this game, but I believe so is my opponent. Okay, so they darted, which makes Shadow a 7/7 with 1 damage on it. If I fetch Shock, I go to 3. I'm dead to Lightning Bolt, but I do win this combat. I could also fetch not Shock, just trade with this thing, but then I get blown out by any pump spell. Definitely gonna fetch. And do I want to be dead to Lightning Bolt? Yeah, let's fucking party. I gotta win this game somehow. And a 10/10 seems like a good way to do it. Come on, counterspell. Oh, Ragavan? Deal. If I flip a Lightning Bolt off the top of their deck, I win right now. Oh wait, should I have gone to... No, I don't think I go to 1 here. That's 12, 13, 14. It's still not lethal. Flipped Arid Mace off their deck. You hate to see it. Okay, Jeggy and 1 mystery card in hand. Let's hope Lightning Bolt is not in the mix here. Land, okay. I think it's safe to say neither player played perfectly there. I got away with it though. Okay, Engineered Explosives and Terminates coming in for sure, for sure. Keeping their creatures off the board is the way to victory here. Thoughtseize is risky. Spell Pierce actually seems pretty good. Drown in the Lock's insane. Yeah, like Thoughtseize last game, knowing exactly how to pace out the game made sense. Not that I really used the information I had in an effective way, but the information you get versus like taking 2. Maybe I like Thoughtseize more on the play. On the draw seems kind of sus. I think I want my Ragavans, though they are a Lava Dart deck. But if they're darting Ragavans, they're not darting me. And we'll get where we're going eventually. Yeah, I think I like this. Let's go. Cutting some number of Ragavan for some number of Flusterstorm might be defensible as well. I'll think about that again if we play a game 3. Okay, just no removal, nothing. But I do have a pretty big creature and a way to loot up. I'm gonna keep Leyline of the Void. Okay. What does that do? Does that do literally anything? I don't have Murktide Region in my deck. Oh, I guess it keeps me off Delirium. Okay. Deal. They kept me off Delirium while they're working on it themselves. Draw for their Bauble and Kroxa. Okay. Well, they probably feel pretty smart about this Leyline at this point. I would have loved to loot Kroxa directly into my graveyard. But okay. I'm going to pass the turn and use Mishra's Bauble to connive next turn. Here's that electrostatic dingus. I'm going to fetch in response to your attack. That'll show you. Just need a blue source here. I'm probably playing basic Swamp next turn to conserve my life because I have a control-y hand. Is there any reason to keep this Kroxa around? Just like as 2 mana Ravenscrime? I don't have any way, actually in the whole 75, to remove a Leyline that's in play. Can't get up, or I guess Ragavan, make a treasure, give me 4 colors for Engineered Explosives. There is a way, but there's no like Brazen Bar or anything. Okay. Ledger Shredder, Bauble. I'm just deciding if I want to keep Kroxa around, or this is just the world's easiest discard to this Shredder. And I think we just dump it, give myself a big creature. Bobble you, see Arid Mesa. Alright, I'm gonna hold back this Mishra's Bauble. I think it'll be better as a card to discard to connive next turn. Unholy Heat, okay. Manamorphose, yikes. I'm likely to get a connive trigger here. Another Manamorphose, they're going off. I discard that Bauble. I think I need the size. Yeah, now Dragon's Rage Channeler doesn't have good attacks into Shredder without help. But they are mutagenic growth deck, so they could just do that. Oh, there's more. Don't worry. Light up the stage. Oh, the hard way. You love to see that. And no mutagenic growth. Face up, at least. Oh, they didn't attack with the other creature. This makes me fairly confident they don't have the growth. That was a free attack. Like, Shredder is smaller than that. You have to attack. At least make me think about a combat trick. Alright, got away with one there. The flip side, though, is my plan to double spell off Shredder and Death Shadow now isn't really a plan because I didn't take any damage last turn. I guess I can't complain about that. I could Shredder and immediately Unholy Heat, which just connives, but I do have a lot of lands in my hand, and this Heat probably isn't going to do much. Okay, I am going to Heat just for the connives. And I want to connive with the big one first, because I'd like to get the second one more stats, if I can. Oh, Fatal Push, you're too good. Okay, I'm going to discard one of these shadows. And do I attack? Are we committed to the race here? I think so. Like, I'm at 16. I can kill this thing next turn. Gotta win this game somehow. I'm not going to chump block. And we know it'll be big enough to party. I could die to like a Battle Rage or something, but they're on low resources, and it's now or never with the... do I want to discard Shadow? Or I'm going to discard EI, which grows that one, and then discard the blue source. Yeah, I'd rather have triple black than double blue. I have 3 black cards in my hand. Or, I guess they're both black lands. That was irrelevant. Alright, Reckless Impulse, what did we find? Mishra's Bauble and Magus of the Moon, my goodness. Someone's playing dirty over there. And I can kill Magus of the Moon with Terminate. Got that going for me. I am going to block this Swift Spear. It's a 3-4, I have a 3-5. Now Death Shadow's big enough to hang out. I can Death Shadow and cast 2 removal spells. Yeah. Death Shadow. Fatal Push. The Pummeler thing. Infantry, whatever this is. I don't learn the words of cards. That's not how I do this. And Unholy Heat is, I think, the worst card here. It'll push your jerk. I can attack for 7 and still have a ton of power and toughness on defense. Yeah, I'm just going to keep going in here. With my basic swamp, I don't even need to worry about this Magus. I can terminate next turn anyway. Okay, here we go. 4 cards in hand. The Moon Magus, not helpful. But they went right for it. The cards in hand must not be good. That felt good. These, like, creature-based pump, whatever, Voltron, quasi-combo, whatever you want to call these things, against the deck with a gazillion spot removal and counter spells, plus bigger creatures than you, I would take this matchup all day as Death Shadow, and we got the result we were looking for. On to the final round. For the absolute best Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, check out the link in the video description to coalesceapparel.shop, and be sure to use the code BoshNRoll for 10% off when you check out. On the draw with just a Spell Pierce for interaction but a handful of threats, I'm going to roll. Let's do it. No companion from my opponent. Crown in the lock. Do I want to stick a creature? I think I just want to pass. Leave up this Spell Pierce till I know what else is going on. This could be like Mill. I don't know. Tapped Watery Grave and tapped Steam Vents. Alright, it's probably not Mill. I'm just going to go to my turn. And I'm going to play Dragon's Rage Channeler off of Blood Crypt. I can dash Ragavan in the future. DRC needs time to grow, though. Consider... Okay. Oh, dumping a Polluted Delta. Is there a Grixis Murktide deck? This looks like Is It Murktide, except for this Water Grave. I don't think Creativity would start like this. Reanimator usually is white, not red. I don't know. We'll see. I don't really know what's going on right now. Inquisition of Kozilek. Okay. I will counter that spell using a Steam Vents. Inquisition might just take Spell Pierce anyway, so I will remove the option to do anything different. And you got to Surveil out of the deal and hide my information. Ooh, okay. Trade and Spell Pierces. Okay, sure. What are we going to lose here? Probably Ragavan. Though, if there are a combo deck, then Drown in the Lock would be the take. I don't know. We'll find out together. Either way, I have another threat I can deploy this turn. They can't take 2 creatures here. Ragavan taken. And they're not done yet, folks. Thoughtseize, okay. That's a way to get 2 creatures out of my hand. You did it. I'm going to play Watery Grave tapped. Just hold up this Drown in the Lock that they saw. This looks like Grixis Control, unless this actually is some sort of combo deck. Kaito Shizuki, I'm looking at you, buddy. I think your time has come. Otawara as a land. Fatal Push. I guess I'll play the Polluted Delta, at least give myself the option on Revolt. Like so. Okay, Snapcaster can resolve. It's going to target Consider. And I'm going to Fatal Push this thing. Thoughtseize. That gives me Delirium, so I'm going to go for it. Even though I think Thoughtseize would be good here. But let's push the damage. And I'm going to leave up Drown in the Lock rather than grab Jeggy. Here's the Consider from the Snapcaster Mage to get an extra card in their hand. Just going to draw for turn. They drew a card, didn't play a land, did nothing. They knew about this swamp. This is a really good opportunity for Thoughtseize. What's going on over there? Spell Pierce into the graveyard. I think we're past that point. Show me like 4 uncastables. I'm not going to protect here. We can get Jegantha as another threat. A command targeting Snapcaster Mage and making me discard. Well, have to counter this. They force the issue. Blue, black. Let's see what's left in your hand. Subtlety and Bloodchief Thirst. Yeah, that's a removal spell. Right, Subtlety in the graveyard. Opponent's sitting on Bloodchief Thirst, which they can cast Conqueso and kill Jeggy. I'm going to put Jegantha in my hand. I'm not going to play my land because we've seen Snapcaster Mage and Kolaghan's Command already. And I don't want to lose Jeggy for free. That was a good one. Okay. Dash Ravioli. This plays around the Sorcerer Speed removal they're holding. Except they also drew Lightning Bolt. Okay. That slows Jegantha down a turn. Still don't want to lose to Kolaghan's Command, or lose my 5/5 to Kolaghan's Command. No! I've been betrayed by my best friend, Kaito Shizuki. I'm sorry, I should have boarded you in more. You're right. Don't turn your back on me like this. Kaito is definitely going to take this game over. Oh, JK, I can kill it. Okay. I'm going to cast Jegantha. And their deck's full of discard and removal spells. Might as well get us both down to Hellbent here. I'm going to shotgun Steam Vents, then pass the turn and kill Kaito in the upkeep before it gets to draw any cards. But this 1/1 ninja token is going to be relevant. I need an Expressive Iteration. Let's go. That's my best card right now. That's not a good card. Ragavan, oh no. They're just like me, for real. But instead of Death Shadow, they have good cards. Stole a Mishra's Bauble from me. Could have been worse. Also, could have just been a land. Come on, Expressive Iteration. Okay, we're dead. That was too many lands when they mattered most. I made the decision to put us both to Hellbent, and my opponent drew Ragavan, and I drew 2 lands. And sometimes that happens. Now I'm at 1. And EI could still get me out of this if I EI into removal spell and Death Shadow, and they also just don't have anything. Or EI into EI and get 2 cards into play and remove the ninja. The ninja's straight up unblockable. Right, Unholy Heat, no targets for that. Ledger Shredder's not it. Okay. Interesting. I'm basically going to sideboard into their deck now. They have more discard spells than me and subtlety at the top end. Yeah, they're just my deck, but like a little bigger, and I think that favors them. Kaito Shizuki's get in here. Do I want the Unlicensed Hearse versus Snapcaster Mage? Probably not, because we've also seen Polygon's Command and just giving them a free artifact to kill. Not great. They are a Ragavan deck and a spell or a Snapcaster deck. There are creatures, so I can't go like removal free here. I think Kroxa is going to be an all-star in this matchup if I can find it. Drown in the Lock's an all-star. I guess I kind of want to be like jockeying towards Ledger Shredder or Kroxa and fighting over Ragavans. Fatal Push is so bad against their whole deck except Rag, where it is pretty essential. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Just go a little higher with some extra counter spells and Kaitos, and that's my plan. This one is kind of rough because this plays into their game plan. I need to, or maybe it's fine. No, I'm gonna keep it. It's kind of weird because their game plan is jam removal down my throat until I have nothing left. But their game plan is also take your time and go big, where if I don't shove a creature, then the removal might not line up. But I'm also playing into their go big and win later plan. Yeah, I just gotta hope their hand is full of fatal pushes and shit. At least long enough for me to get set up. Hitting that land drop was really good. I didn't want to cast Expressive Iteration into every counterspell that exists. And as long as I keep hitting land drops, I don't have to. Alright, it's time to EI. Blue, red. I got a bunch of these now. Oh, come the fuck on, deck. Alright, Kaito in hand, Shredder. I would rather hit a land drop than any of this shit that I just hit. Blood Crypt. Play the Rag. This taps me out for the turn. I kept this hand on the strength of my counter spells, and now they can like Lightning Bolt, untap, play Kaito, and I'm fucked. And there's Lightning Bolt. Alright, show me, or like Jace the Mind Sculptor, just something. I just missed a land drop though, so they know my hand is 7 spells. Oh yeah, Drago with me. Land. Oh, Thoughtseize is good too. As far as non-land cards go, very happy with the Thoughtseize. Okay, Bloodsheaf Thirst, Fatal Push, K Command, Snapcaster, Brazen Borrower. I think it's the Snapcaster. I mean, they could K Command to pick the Snapcaster back up, but if I take K Command, they can just snap it. This is the removal heavy hand, though, that I was hoping my hand would line up against. I think I take Snapcaster. Yeah, that just gives them the most options, but K Command is black. Every other card I care about is blue, and that does matter right now. All right, I'm going to take the command. And if I iteration and miss on the land, I'm in trouble. All right, I'm still going to iteration. Okay, found the land. Ragavan in hand, Spell Pierce on the bottom, exile land. All right, hit my land drop. I'm showing up Mystical Dispute. Now I have a threat next turn as well. Just chilling over here with 7 cards in hand, as one does. I probably would have gone for an aggro Snap Bolt there. Maybe not, though. Yeah, my graveyard's not really part of my plan right now. I'm just going to fetch and get a land into play. Pain-free. Blue, red. This is actually a very blue hand, so I do want Watery Grave. And I can play Ragavan, or I could dash Ragavan. I could also just play Kaito and get to work. Kaito's not really in a good spot yet. I'm just going to cast one of the Ragavans and pass the turn. Start whittling this hand down. I've resolved 2 EIs, they haven't. And I have another one still in my hand, plus Kaito. I'm full of draw engines over here. There goes the Fatal Push. Now my dash Ragavan is good. If they shock this in, that's a plan for Snapcaster. That was a good hit. Always happy with a land drop. I think I just want to get Swamp. Or I could just play Ragavan again. I could play Kaito. I'm going to play Ragavan. And the reason is this might bait out a Snap Bolt or Snap Push, where Mystical Dispute is great against Snapcaster right now. And as soon as they untap, it's not great against Snapcaster anymore. Mystical Dispute can knock this Petty Theft out of here. Yeah, this is the last really good spot for Mystical Dispute in this game. And I have Drown and Pierce. I actually have both Drown and Pierce. I'm going to let Ragavan die, though, if they Bloodchief Thirst here. Inquisition, shit. I do want to protect Kaito. Oh, they can Spellbomb themselves in response to Drown. That's so good. Okay, resolves. My poor Kaito. Yep, there he goes. The thing I was jockeying this whole game around. And that's going to work too. I'm going to fetch a tapped land in the end step. Another Steam Vents. Engineered Explosive Snapcaster Mage is their hand right now. I could EI or I could Dragon's Rage Channeler, then EI, and get an extra look. I'm going to EI. Start there. Another Spell Pierce, another Drown on the lock. I'm going to take the backup Drown, send the Spell Pierce, and make my land drop for the turn. And then I can play this Channeler, who is big for now. Now there is some tension between pointing Spellbomb at me or at yourself. And Engineered Explosives on 1 kills all of the Spellbombs. Fetch down to 8. My last generically fetchable land. Just a basic Swamp left in the deck. In with Dragon's Rage Channeler. Spellbomb targeting me. Knock me off Delirium. You got it. Sure. The Croxa wasn't in there. That's my primary concern right now. And put Jeggy in hand. These are the grindy games that Jeggy is for. Ledger Shredder, that's a sweet one. Attack with Channeler. And Ledger Shredder. This is the kind of card that can make selection relevant. There's your Snapcaster Mage. I'm going to drown it in the lock, which also gives me a loot. I want to Surveil first. All right, perfect. Put that in the graveyard. It can only fetch the basic, which I don't need. And is Spell Pierce still good this game? Probably not. Okay, discard Spell Pierce. They can Spellbomb themselves to counter Drown, but then Snapcaster doesn't have anything to recur, and we get it either way. Like, do you want a stocked graveyard and no board, or do you want a... Okay, now I get to shred again. Deal. I will discard this Unholy Heat. And I'm going to Mystical Dispute the Snapcaster Mage. I get a Surveil, put another land. This one literally can't get anything because it doesn't fetch basic Swamp. Right, is your last card in hand a Mystical Dispute or Spell Pierce? It is not. Okay. We know they have Engineered Explosives that can take out Ledger Shredder. Oh, Snapcaster. Shit. Okay. That was a good final mystery card. Targeting K-Command. Now the whole shit is operational. A K-Command can kill DRC and pick up another Snapcaster. That leaves Ledger Shredder in play. If between the Shredder and the discard I can get Delirium, my creature doesn't die. Okay, I have instant and land in the graveyard. The Connive can put a creature there, and then I didn't find a sorcery or didn't find sorcery or artifact. Okay, I'm just gonna Connive away this Unholy Heat, and then discard. Oh wait, there was no discard involved. What am I even talking about? There were already 2 modes. I'm just like trying to resolve 3 modes of Kolaghan's Command. This land does get the basic Swamp, which does give me Jeggy plus Counterspell. Get in there, and I'm gonna fetch the final land that's in my deck. At least the final mana producing land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jegantha. There it is. The mighty elk. We know they're holding Snapcaster, and there is a Bloodchief Thirst in the graveyard. But you need a land for this to work. I'm going to drown this in the lock. If they use Spellbomb to counter drown in the lock, then they don't have a graveyard for Snapcaster Mage. Which is what I was going for on that line. What's the last card I don't know about? Explosives for 2. Don't think I want Thoughtseize anymore this game, and that gives me Delirium to discard it. The explosives also kill Snapcaster. Okay, I will attack with my cards. And before damage, clear that. Jeggy doesn't trample, which is a shame because it's clearly a mighty elk. I'm going to draw a card with Fire Islet before I do anything else. Shadow, what's up? Okay, now pedal to the metal here. Ledger Shredder. Death Shadow. See what we connive into. Discard Unholy Heat. I'm just slamming the board full of threats. Bang. Please don't cast Damnation. Let's go. Closest for 1. That kills 2 of my creatures and your own Spellbomb. Good Spellbombing first. Good call. Still have 7 power in play. Drew a land. There are not many of those left in my deck. Close to 0, in fact. But not literally 0. That might have been the last one. But I have Ledger Shredder in play. I can put that land to use somehow or another. F6. One of us is dead. Dash Ragavan. Tilt. Please don't take a Terminate. Rag flipped Spell Pierce. Alright, cool. Didn't want that one. Deal. Take it. And played a land for turn. Means they are dead. They're going to fetch Shock to go out in style. Oh, they didn't even have a Shock land. That's so disappointing. Alright, Jeggy got a win. The big 5/5 creature. Crunching in for 10 when my opponent's at 11. That was a great game. Now we are on the draw for the last one. And those Snapcaster Mages and Unlicensed Hearse, all relevant, but I don't really want to control. Just beat up their graveyard because I'm a Drown in the Lock deck. Is Flusterstorm better than Spell Pierce in the Masked Out? I guess is a real question. Spell Pierce hits Kaito, where Flusterstorm doesn't, but Flusterstorm is just a better Spell Pierce against every non-Kaito spell. Like anything that comes out of Snapcaster, you automatically get a pay 3 instead of a pay 2. Spell Pierce is harder to counter. Yeah, I think I'm making this switch and just letting my Unholy Heats and my creatures deal with Kaito. Yep, this is my plan. We're doing it. 3 Unholy Heats. That's the worst card in my deck. I'm going to mulligan this one. It's just like already pretty low. This one's good. Keep this and send, I think, Bauble away. Or I'll send away the land. As much as I like making land drops, Bauble, the card selection, that's valuable to me here. Ooh, leading on Island. That card does not cast any good spells. I can hold up Flusterstorm or just play this Ragavan. Yeah, I'm just going to play Rag. Drawing the second copy lets me get a little rowdy with the first. Blood Crypt. Rag. This basic Island not casting a removal spell does so much for me. Oh, they're drawing Kroxa. Basic Island doesn't cast that either. And that's why you don't see Basic Island in these decks. It just doesn't cast your spells. Gotta imagine they have a Spell Pierce or something over there. This is a deal. I have another one. I'll send it back. And then I will have the Treasure Supremacy. They are kind of representing Blood Moon here, which is a little terrifying. Because I'm not ready to play against that card. The Flusterstorm in my hand, pretty bad against Blood Moon compared to Spell Pierce. I mean, Ragavan making treasures and shit is worth something. Just exiled Otawara. Okay. You're holding Kroxa. What else you got? Fetch basic Swamp Jam Blood Moon. That would be annoying. Alright, they don't have Blood Moon. That's not a basic swamp. Well, immediately punished. Fucking fuck. Spell Pierce. You asshole. Kaito phases out. I can kill the ninja and hit with Rag again. I could also just kill the ninja, play Rag, hold up Flusterstorm. That actually sounds fine. I'm going to just cast Rag and get a Steam Vents in the mix. And I'm just going to pass the turn first. Because drowning on their turn builds Storm for Flusterstorm. If they try to kill Rag, then I can drown and then... Okay, they're just looting, not even going for the attack. Oh, the Wand of Crooks in the graveyard, that makes sense. Oh, you have multiple of this thing? Sure, alright. Recroxa, this one's gonna get rid of Scalding Tarn. With Rag active, I am less concerned. Yeah, I guess if you don't have another creature removal spell, then you need your ninja back to block. And protect Kaito from... Do I want to drown this? I don't think so. No, I don't really care. In the end step, I'm going to drown the ninja token. Kill that thing. Spell Pierce. Do I want to fluster this? Yeah, I do. Storm is 5, casual. Now the question is, do I connect with Rag or take this opportunity to clear Kaito? I'm going to connect with Rag. This is my card advantage. Find a spell. Exile Polluted Delta. Hate my life. Mishra's Bauble. Bauble you. What's in there? Engineered Explosives. Okay. Oh, that sucks. The good news is, if they cast Engineered Explosives... Oh, well, they're just going for Kroxa. Damn! This Kaito looting was really good. Didn't even need to do it again. Getting Croxed out of here. And holding the Engineered Explosives as the one card in hand that I now know about. It just... I don't even get to, like, shield up with this Death Shadow. Alright, gotta draw a removal spell now. They could even play out the explosives on one. Alright, going for a loot. That's kind of generous, actually, because if they end up with another card in their graveyard, I can drown the Kroxa. Alright, come on, Fatal Push. No! Okay. We've lost this game. Yeah, their deck's just a little bigger than mine, and my Spell Pierce Flusterstorm Juke ended up being a huge fucking punish. They just jammed Kaito. Like, game 2, Kaito never even showed up. It was like Snapcaster's Kolagon's commands jumping in and out of play, and then game 3, they're just like, turn 3 Kaito, let's fucking go. And I had the wrong piece. Might have outsmarted myself there. Okay, so I think Kaito, even though it was a huge player in that last game, kind of sucks. Like 4 out of 5 matchups, it was not what we wanted. I would be putting like Kolagon's commands in there. I do want the main deck dressed down. And you can kind of see how Lurrus would make such a difference here. Like, obviously Lurrus is busted. I know. Like, obviously Lurrus makes the deck better. What are you even saying right now? But in a specific way, Lurrus makes this deck better, that Grixis Shadow kind of just drives the game to a point where both players are on low resources or even no resources. And the difference between 8 mana 5/5 in that spot and 6 mana 3/2 that's also a Ragavan is like, it cannot be overstated how much that difference makes. And the entire play pattern of this deck versus the Solitude, Fury, Cascade business that Modern is about right now is just, you're working to a spot that doesn't really exist anymore is the problem. You got to be fair and square. You gotta, all your cards have to count the first time because they're not coming back again. There used to be the hard lock against Hammer where like you cast Dress Down every end step with Lurrus and their creatures never have abilities during their own turn, and you don't have that anymore. I've been playing a bit of Murktide lately off camera, just really trying to learn that deck and learn its ins and outs for Magic 30 in Vegas. It was on my list of decks I really wanted to understand, and honestly, this just felt like worse than Murktide every single time. Like, what other than casting Thoughtseize, that was the only thing this deck did that was better than what Murktide is doing. Ground in the Lock used to be a reason to be Grixis, but we have literal counterspell now. You could just do the same thing and you get Blood Moon. Rather than losing to Blood Moon, you get to cast that card. It's, this is not where I would want to be in Modern. The play pattern is fun. I love this shit. I love little decisions, nickel and diming your opponent to death, and mapping out game plans around a Thoughtseize, but Modern is a little more powerful than that right now, and it pains me to say, but Grixis Shadow, not a deck I'd reach for at the current metagame. Brendan, thank you for asking me to put this on the channel. It has been tickling the back of my brain in all my Murktide testing. I'm like, well, what about Shadow? I could be doing this, but with Thoughtseize. Turns out Murktide Regent is just a completely different animal than Death Shadow. If we're talking about mid-game payoffs for early game interaction, and you don't have to rip your own life total apart to do it. I'm glad I had this education session, and I will not be thinking about Death Shadow in the back of my brain anymore as I test seriously for major tournaments. A regrettable report, but we had some good games along the way. I'm going to sign off with that. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the Patreon and everything else that supports the channel in the video description. I'll see you next time.